So the first topic is we are going to take it back to 2017, all right? And we are going to look at a specific film.
Not a good year.
Good year.
A good year.
We're going to look at a specific film that basically most everybody who's a fan was disappointed by, all right? And that is Pirates of the Caribbean 5, Dead Men Tell No Tales. We're going to talk about why Pirates 5 was so bad. So we're going to analyze it. We're going to look back at some of these characters, some of the ways that they moved through the story, how they presented the story, and talk about why it fell so short comparatively, right? Even compared to On Stranger Tides, which also wasn't a good film.
Right.
But this fell even shorter. And we got to explain why. And that's what we're here to do. So first off, what's the first thing that you guys think this movie sucks because Barbossa?
So, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. We have guys in prison, and they're talking about there's a ship out there with black sails. The captain is the bloodthirstiest captain on the Caribbean, and then we get this Barbossa that's become a privateer,
like a nerfed character?
Yeah.
How does he become the most bloodthirsty, feared captain in the Caribbean to this?
Yeah. Not fun.
How about we do this? You're right about Barbossa. Across the board, after At World's End, completely, like On Stranger Tides did the same thing, right? Now, on Stranger Tides, he still wanted to be this. He wanted to go from privateer into becoming a powerful captain again, but it was presented in a weird way, felt claustrophobic. The characters didn't feel relatable. They introduced too many new ones. They did the exact same thing. They introduced more new characters. The only consistent characters is Jack and Barbossa, you know? Everybody else is pretty much gone, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I don't mind having another villain. You know, you need, if you're going to do another movie, you need a new villain. You know, we've got Davy Jones is gone. You need something, right?
Barbossa's not really a villain anymore.
Barbossa's not really a villain anymore. So we got this was Salvador?
Salazar.
Salazar. We got Salazar.
Captain Salazar?
I don't remember anything about him.
So
Me either.
So this is what happened is it revolves around the compass a bit, I think. And so ultimately he was trapped by Jack when he was younger. And that's another thing. The marketing's like, we're going to show Captain Jack when he was younger. Let me try to see if I have a picture of Captain Jack when he was younger. I put it too far down the line. Here we go. So they marketed this like, we got Jack Sparrow as a young man. And it was just a few minutes. It was just telling a little bit of backstory. But they presented this in a weird way, where it's like the trident and the compass, and it was a convoluted story.
Yeah,
and
too much MacGuffin stuff.
Yeah, he was trapped, and then he was let out, and it just didn't make. It was trying to tell too much.
Trying to do too much.
Trying to do way too much. So let's talk a little bit about Jack, because I want to talk about Jack for a bit. Because Jack is like the focus of the story in a lot of ways, all right?
I think there should be Captain in there somewhere.
That's right.
That's Captain Jack to you.
That's right.
Also, what Pirates has always done, the biggest of belt buckles.
The biggest.
The big, like the most mass, like it's practically a chest plate. The biggest of belt buckles.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, you like it.
You're not a pirate unless you have the biggest belt buckle.
So I'm a pretty big Pirates fan, very big Jack Sparrow fan, as so many people are. So when they started Pirates, I think the thing we loved about him was that he's wacky, mixed with he's fun-loving. He's also really witty. He's clever, and we want to see him succeed, although he's kind of a dirtbag.
It's the same kind of thing you get from Michael Scott.
Yeah.
Right? You see he's kind of a bumbling idiot. But then when it comes to business, he's good at business. He knows how to do business.
Yeah, and he knows how to be a captain.
Yeah, so when it all came down to it, when there was really serious, being a captain, being a sailor, being a pirate, he was good at it. You know, even though
he has all the tricks.
Yeah, even though he's kind of wacky and bumbling.
This film completely destroyed who he was, what people loved in Jack Sparrow. And they're like, we just want him to tell jokes and to act silly, you know? It's like it's like the Legolas effect, where it's like, we just want to see Jack do fun, like exciting things by accident.
Right.
That's not what we liked about Jack Sparrow. That was just the little side things that made us chuckle. This film was all of that. It was just Jack being a non-captain and just bumbling his way through the story.
I will say this, though. As much as Disney's writers and Disney creating this film ruined Jack Sparrow as a character, there was one other villain involved besides that. And we also saw the negative effects in, I think, Alice in Wonderland Through the Looking Glass. He was a terrible character in that movie, even though we loved him in the first Alice in Wonderland. There was one villain that was worse than Barbossa, Blackbeard, and this Salazar. And it was a female. Her name is Amber Heard. During this time was when all the Amber Heard stuff was going on. So I'm going to give Jack a little bit of, I mean,
look at his
Johnny
face.
Depp.
Look at his face. He's dead inside.
Yeah.
He's dead inside.
Yeah.
He's trying his best.
He was trying his best.
In Alice in Wonderland Through the Looking Glass, he played that role terribly.
Yeah.
And it was because all the Amber Heard stuff was going on.
The true villain
of this
Pirates,
story.
Yeah, the real pirate.
Yeah. The one who could take down Jack.
Yeah.
Miss Amber Heard.
Don't respect her name. Don't respect
a siren, if you will.
Yeah. But say Amber Heard. Don't give respect to that name.
The other thing I wanted to bring up is also these side characters. So they basically were like, we're going to take... Okay, what did people love about the first movies? They're like, I got it. They like Orlando Bloom. They like Keira Knightley.
Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley.
Yeah.
So they're like, how do we bring them back? On Stranger Tides kind of flopped. I got it. We're going to put freaking young Jack Sparrow in the trailer. We're going to put Orlando Bloom in the trailer. We're going to put an article that says Keira Knightley appears in the film.
Right.
You know? And we're going to be like, we're going to have the original people back. Aren't you excited? And they gave us Henry Turner.
Here's the thing with Henry Turner. I didn't have a problem with the character.
Okay. Yeah.
Of Will Turner's son is trying really, really hard to get him back. I like that story. They should have focused solely on that. Will Turner's son is trying to get him back. That's his entire goal. And they should have done, he finds Jack Sparrow to get that accomplished. That should have been the entire story.
But the problem is they already leaned into that with Will and his father, Bootstraps. Like, it's just a repeating storyline.
But that they could have done, it's simple. It's simple, though. It should have just been that, though.
You know what I've realized, though? So, on Curse of the Black Pearl, we open with Elizabeth Turner being 10 years old. And then we see the Black Pearl off in the distance.
And they got the...
And then we have this movie. We have all the other movies where Will and all that stuff. And then we have their kid. So, Jack Sparrow has been... a pirate captain of the Black Pearl for 50 years now, and he still looks like he's like 50 years old.
Well, he would have been young. He would have been like a kid when he knew, not a kid, but he would have been like in his early 20s when he knew Bootstrap. And then Bootstrap's kid, 10 years later, his kid is 20 years old.
Though, because they wanted to throw this character in there. They wanted. The
How old do you
I don't
think Henry is?
Fits.
18, 19?
19 or 20.
So we're saying through the course of the films?
Years.
No, 40.
40.
So if Jack was 30-ish when he met Will Turner.
That means in this he's 50s.
That means he's in his 50s.
That's pretty.
He's old.
That's pretty. That's a lot of time
Pretty
to
old.
jump between the films.
But
It's a lot.
I just wish that had been the story and there wasn't all that other extra stuff. And he was no Will Turner, that's for sure.
No.
I think ultimately, like this story, one of the big reasons why the progression of this story, where they placed us for Pirates 5, was so bad is in the writing, they're just trying to pull things from the old films and try to be like, here's just a little bit of old films with something new. But there's something new didn't work.
Yeah.
Like you either commit to staying away from it, like On Stranger Tides did, and be like, okay, people aren't into this story without all these characters. You closed it with At World's End. Maybe we're done. Maybe we're just done.
We're done.
You know?
Yeah.
They're trying to do more though.
I know. Please don't. The other issue is they bring in the girl character.
Karina?
Don't need her.
Barbossa's daughter?
Don't need her. We don't need her.
Barbossa has a daughter? So we went from him being like the ultimate antagonist in Curse, and now he's just completely like a father figure that you're supposed to feel sorry for in the final film.
Right.
No.
We didn't need her because she was really just in there for shoehorned in love story.
Yeah.
So we got shoehorned in Will Turner, shoehorned in Elizabeth, shoehorned in love
Penelope
story.
Cruz.
Yeah, it's all this. It's the same thing.
Like,
shoehorned in villain.
We need a young, attractive pirate lady.
Yeah, it all felt like it was just trope after trope after trope.
They gave her like this hardcore kind of woke feminist thing going on, which none of the other films did.
Which was actually pretty light. Back in 2000,
compared,
but
this
was
the same
early
time,
days.
At all of the other films, so like Penelope Cruz and Keira Knightley, they showed the strength of a woman and a woman in this pirate world without having to bring in all of these 2020 narratives or 2000s narratives into this
2017 narratives.
2017,
yeah,
narrative.
2017, but
into all of this. Into like the same problems we deal with today.
And that's the other thing. I don't remember anything about her character.
Because there wasn't much to it other than she's Barbossa's
I even
daughter.
remember Penelope Cruz being cool, right? And fighting and stuff.
Because they made her kind of badass.
Yeah. I don't remember much.
Cruz.
I don't remember much about her character.
Yeah, but
just that she was
made her
cool and she was shooting guns and she was fighting. I don't remember anything she did.
She was smart. That was her story arc. She was really smart. I think she was like into science and looking at the stars and all of that.
Then they should have just leaned into just making her very sciencey instead of
she's mouthy and smart.
Instead of also being, I don't know, make her more like the girl in the first, the Mummy.
Yeah.
Right.
No. People are gonna say like, we don't want a damsel in distress.
Don't make. I'm not saying make her a damsel in distress, but
that's kind of what the first Mummy was. Though.
But they should have made her more bookish. Like she's kind of doesn't know what to do with the pirate world.
Yeah,
she doesn't know how to exist in it.
Instead,
it's the same. Like if you're gonna do another Keira Knightley, make her a little bit more like she doesn't know how to interact with the pirate stuff.
Think about the progression of Keira's Elizabeth's story arc.
Yeah.
She went from being a little bit helpless to becoming the pirate king.
Yeah.
That's
fun.
We got to see that progress, and that's a awesome, if I may use a woke term, feminist. Good story.
Yeah,
that's a great feminist story.
Never had any problem with that. Yeah,
it's a great feminist story.
I got no problem with that story, but I think he's got a little bit of rose-colored glasses for
maybe.
But I didn't have a problem with Penelope Cruz either.
No.
I feel like now, if they did it now, she would have become pirate captain in one movie. With
not having to pick up a sword at all, she just is like, I'm a woman and
I was born the pirate captain. I have a secret power inside.
Think about all that Elizabeth had to go through to get to where she was. We saw the adventure of her.
It's like Bran Stark from
Think about it. She had to do her time with Barbossa in between Dead Man's Chest and At World's End when she's looking for Will.
Yeah.
Right? They all had their motivations as to why they needed Will and why they needed Jack back, you know? But she was right there with them scheming and trying to be smarter
they put the
and
time
fight
in.
better than everyone else to get her outcome, you know?
Yeah.
It's a good story. Pirates 5 doesn't come close.
Mm-hmm.
Let's also talk about the aesthetic, if we might.
Okay.
Are you good with that?
Yeah.
What is that?
What is that? Yeah, magic-y kind of Poseidon's trident. Doesn't feel right for pirates.
Contrast it with the early Pirates films.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the early pirates had a lot of magic with the curse, the Aztec gold.
The Kraken.
But, yeah, this felt hokey. That felt Disneyized, but it was okay.
Right.
This feels hokey and not cool.
Yeah, we got kind of like monsters and ghosts and curses was, it feels way more piratey than the lost city of Atlantis. You know, that doesn't feel piratey. That feels more fantasy.
Yeah, it feels
more high fantasy than
Indiana Jones.
grimoire, dark.
It's almost like in the fourth movie when they did the Fountain of Youth. They're like, that's still piratey.
Yeah,
let's dip our toes in a little bit.
But
and
then they went too far again.
No, they dipped their toes in, and then they're like, yeah, the water's good. Get it, ball!
Yeah. The water's fine, boys.
People didn't hate it too much.
Right. Yeah.
Gosh dang it.
Yeah, I'm cool with scary mermaids. I'm cool with skeletons and
Cool with Davy
fish
Jones.
monsters. Davy Jones, whatever the lady's name who becomes a giant and then crabs.
Calypso.
Calypso.
Oh, yeah.
Or Tiadoma, whichever you like.
Yeah,
Prefer Tiadoma,
She's a little cooler.
that's all feels very
Yeah.
kind of dark piratey.
It's like a mysterious spirituality behind the pirate lifestyle.
But this was like, what about the Greek gods
What about the king of the ocean?
of the ocean?
Or the god of the ocean.
Yeah.
Which why
What's next?
Why did we lose it?
Yeah.
Hold
What's
on,
next?
I want to quickly talk about how I was very upset that they ruined the arc of Will Turner in this. They ruined him because at the end of At World's End, he's supposed to be a better Davy Jones. So they're like, we need another pirate movie. Let's put him in the same position Davy Jones was on,
Yeah.
and be like, well, now he's being corrupted.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
That was the point of him in the first three, I guess maybe the 2 and 3, because he's gonna be a better Davy
And
Jones.
honestly-
and he's on a what do you call it? I don't know. Continue. I'm losing my words.
I wished, the scene at the end where he reunites with Elizabeth, it's a scene I wanted.
Uh-huh.
Genuinely. It's a scene I wanted. I wanted to see her. I wanted to see him. I wanted to see that come together. Again, they should have made the movie about that instead. Right?
maybe.
Probably.
They should have made
this whole other thing.
Yeah, they should have made the movie more about that. But what they did instead was gave us 2 discount Will and Elizabeths. Essentially gave us a discount Davy Jones crew with the other ghost pirates. It's like every time it's like we need cursed pirates.
Yeah.
So we get the cursed pirates in the first one, we get Davy Jones crew, and then we get these guys.
Yeah, which are kind of a similar aesthetic, just different.
Yeah, with they have no character.
Yeah, like the ship looks similar to Davy Jones's, and they're like, we just need a new Davy Jones.
We need a new Davy Jones. We need a new haunted crew.
Yeah.
It's just
They also, Jack and all the wacky stuff he does, it's always kind of believable. Even though it's weird, he'll tie something to a cannon, light it, and then get thrown and be like, I did all that without a drop of rum. And it's like, that's funny. It works. Do you remember the whole scene where he's going through the city and they're like pulling that building or whatever they're pulling? Do you remember? And it's just like everything's collapsing.
Yeah.
And it was so bad.
You talking about like the bank robbery?
Yes.
yeah, that
Where
was so
the
bad.
whole building's being pulled by horses?
Yeah.
Yes. It's so
Oh my
bad.
gosh, it's
it's
bad.
like, how is all this working? It's almost like the scene in The Hobbit where they're going through the waterfall. The barrel scene. And it's like, this is not supposed to work like this.
When, you know, in the second movie, Dead Man's Chest, we get a wacky scene where Jack is jumping across canyons, pole vaulting. Right, and he's tied to a thing.
But it kind of works.
We also get an incredibly amazing scene where he and Will and Norrington are fighting in the wheel.
Yeah, which is awesome.
That is an incredible scene. Is it believable?
And
no.
But the cage rolling down the mountain.
Yeah, the cage rolling. Like, the wheel scene is one of my favorites just because you look at it and you're like, that's a real wheel.
Yeah.
You know, that they're rolling through the jungle. It's such a fun scene, and they're fighting. They get a little bit wacky when, you know, Jack is fighting Davy Jones up on, you know, the ship, like on the sail thing. And, you know, they're just balancing up there fighting in a whirlpool.
It's pretty slick.
Yeah, that's a different thing.
Think about this. They've been building up the fact that Jack has incredibly good sea legs. His whole arc is he's very balanced on the sea. But on land, not so much.
But yeah, this movie had way too much of the just big CGI stuff. When I like the scenes like Will and Jack fighting in the blacksmith thing. I like this. I like the scenes with him and Norrington in them fighting in the wheel.
Yeah,
I love that stuff, and I want more of that stuff.
We didn't get
any of it in here.
Instead,
I need to go back and watch this.
I've only seen it once, to be honest, because I really
solidify how bad
I wouldn't watch it again.
Let's just say this. Also, the writing of the dialogue dropped off a lot.
Oh man,
I mean, they dropped off with Stranger Tides. It dropped off more with this. It's just across the board. This was just such a bad film. And the reason, to end this segment, let's kind of try to sum it up. All right. Why is Pirates 5 so bad? In my opinion, they focused on all of the wrong things from the first three movies. They built too much on Stranger Tides, and they kind of formatted it to bring the original audience back, but they didn't deliver what the original audience wanted to see, and they kind of ruined stories in the process.
Yeah, it's a Star Wars sequel issue of let's try to do all the things that everybody loved, and they do them bad.
Yeah, and it's across the board. It's them trying to. First off, it's a money making grab.
Oh yeah.
Second off, it's them trying to create something that they had, but they've changed up too much.
Trying to catch lightning in a bottle again.
Gore Verbinski was the director for the first three. All right? Stranger Tides and Dead Men Tell No Tales was not directed by Gore. So there's going to be a problem there, but they fell so short with these last two, especially the very last one, that it's the common thread, just like Wyatt said. It's the remakes that aren't well thought through. It's more about like visual stunning and like funny moments with characters. This isn't what we care about. We just want to see a logical progression of what we really loved, or not at all.
Yeah.
Like, let us just love the originals, you know?
Yeah.
Take a pay cut. Or make something we don't care about.
What do we got up next?